Trigger warning. Ghosts, ghouls, and gruesome stuff ahead. It's weird, it's dark, it's your kind of vibe.
Welcome to Haunted and Homicidal, the podcast where true crime meets the paranormal. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Courtney. Every week we uncover the terrifying, the twisted, and the totally unexplainable. Lock your doors and grab your sage.
Because things are about to get haunted and homicidal. Hey guys.
What's up?
Welcome back. Yeah, we're back to like the long episodes again. I know you guys love it. Where is it? Gonna have GhostTube interactions today. I don't know.
Hopefully they're not arguing today with each other.
They might be. I don't know. That episode, editing it was fucking hilarious. I was cracking up the entire time. It was a rough episode to edit because like they would interrupt at the worst fucking possible moment.
She will touch you.
See?
Who's she?
I don't need anybody touching me. I appreciate it though. Thank you. Get it. There we go.
Marie.
Who? Who's Marie?
Mine said not.
My mom's middle name is Marie.
Stay with me. I don't want to stay with you.
Maybe it's talking about my mom. Her middle name's Marie.
I hope your mom is going to start touching you.
No, I would hope not either. No, thank you. I'm still tired.
Quit yawning.
Oh, fuck. I can't help it. Trying to power through these episodes real quick. So, again, go visit HauntFest.net. It's going to be a good time. We're still so excited about our sponsorship with them. So excited.
In the past.
It is in the past also, and it's also in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And now,
A word from our sponsor.
sponsors. Hey, guys.
What's up?
We are going to talk to you about something called HauntFest. Super excited. We are partnering with them
Woot.
for all of their little events. So, HauntFest is crawling back from the darkness, bringing more mayhem, monsters, and madness each year.
Step through the gates and into a fully immersive world of horror art, live music, spooky vendors, themed entertainment, and eerie activities lurking around every corner. Depending on the event, you may find axe throwing, trivia, animal encounters, rage rooms.
Ooh.
I need to do a rage room. Photo ops, food and drink, ghost stories, freak shows, hay rides, haunted attractions, and more. Some locations even feature camping, after-hour parties, and other exclusive surprises.
Our characters, awesome name, by the way. That is so cute.
I know, right?
Roam the grounds hunting for fresh screams. If you're easily spooked, grab a Ghoul Gone Glow bracelet at the gate to help keep the beasts at bay. Which is cute. You know, people have like autism and stuff and their kids are scared. I love that they do stuff like that.
My old roommate wanted one for when we went to Terror on the Coast.
Nice. So yeah, HauntFest, they're taking everybody into consideration. Pre-sale tickets start at a killer price. For the full nightmare experience, upgrade to the RIP Pass for exclusive perks. Season passes are now also available, granting access to any HauntFest event throughout the whole entire year.
Whether you're a thrill seeker, a horror fanatic, an Addams Family, or simply dead inside,
That's me.
like Lauren, HauntFest is where Halloween never dies.
This is my jam.
Slip on your monster skins and join us for a weekend of scares, screams, and unforgettable memories.
Join HauntFest at the 2026 premiere of Death March at Trim Tab Brewing Company in Birmingham, Alabama. The thrills begin at 2 p.m. on March 7th and 8th, with the event ending at midnight on Saturday and 8 p.m. on Sunday.
And then HauntFest is back for its 4th annual Athens, Georgia event, April Ghouls, at Terrapin Beer Company on April 11th and 12th, 2026 at 2 p.m. Throw on a costume and boogie at our new Dead Man's Party from 10 p.m. to midnight on Saturday.
I'm loving all these names.
I know,
it's great.
right?
HauntFest returns to historic Hopkins Farm in Simpsonville, South Carolina for a September to Dismember on September 25th and 26th from 5 p.m. to midnight on Friday and 2 p.m. to midnight on Saturday. Hopkins Haunted Attraction will feature a sneak peek walkthrough haunt for the event, which will open at 7:30 p.m. each night and is included in your festival entry ticket. A September to Dismember will be a full-fledged weekend festival with vendors, live music, themed entertainment, and much more. Prepare for a dead man's party.
This November, join us for some post-Halloween thrills at the premiere of HauntFest Harvest of Horrors at Bobby Brown Park in Elberton, Georgia. The magic begins at 5 p.m. on the 6th and 2 p.m. on the 7th, continuing until the clock strikes midnight. Camping, yurts, movie screenings, bouncy houses, and more are offered at this venue. If you're a raging psychopath,
I am.
sign up to sleep in our Night Terrors camping area where our ghouls can creep around your tent after hours until 2 a.m. on Sunday morning.
That sounds so fun, guys.
To take a first look at the venue, come to our free On the Water Sink or Swim horror movie promo event on July 25th. For more information, to get involved, or to buy tickets, visit hauntfest.net.
Guys, do it. Okay, love you. Bye.
Do it.
Doesn't that sound like a good time?
I want to go.
I know. I want to go too. Like maybe next year. Like, cause,
Yeah.
I don't have time this year. I don't have time.
I have no time and I have no monies.
Also, yes,
Yes.
yes. Also, that is absolutely correct.
Prisoner.
Yeah, we're a prisoner in our own home because we can't go anywhere because we can't
Yes.
afford it.
Yes.
Hello?
No energy.
Yeah, I don't have any energy today. Thank you. I am yawning. Bloody. No, I'm not. Well, my nose is kind of bloody today, but it's okay. I guess we will just go ahead and get into it.
So, yeah, because I was not doing the original story because I'm not
No.
doing no freaking dog. Oh,
No.
I can't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
No, you told me about it, and I went to look it up, and I couldn't even. I was like, nope.
Yeah,
No,
I
thank
couldn't
you.
do it. I couldn't do it. I'm not talking. Not do it. Can't do it.
Y'all can look it up yourself, but we're not going to talk about it. We will not ever recover.
I can't remember. Okay. So I'm doing the McRaven House
Ooh, that's in
in
Mississippi.
Vicksburg, Mississippi. As one of the most historic places in Mississippi,
Scared.
okay. Vicksburg is steeped in history, legend, and lore, and the siege of the town during the Civil War is one of the most memorial events of the conflict. So, in the fall of 1862, President Abraham Lincoln believed that Vicksburg was of vital importance to the Confederacy. Who's touching me? And that the army that controlled the city controlled the Mississippi River. I like how yours says she's touching you, and mine says he's touching you.
Oh, Marie is touching me, apparently.
Perfect.
Naval forces tried to seize Vicksburg but failed, so Lincoln decided to try and take it by land.
Mm-hmm.
So, led by General Ulysses S. Grant, Union forces marched on Vicksburg, only to be driven back time after time for the next several months. After Union forces continued to be repelled, Grant settled in for a siege, assisted by a constant artillery barrage on the city. As shells rained down on Vicksburg, civilians burrowed into the surrounding hills for shelter. Months passed, and people starved.
Yeah.
They ran out of grain and began eating horses, mules, dogs, rats, and horrible bread made from dried peas.
Ew.
I'm like, I don't like peas, so I would not be eating that bread. Royal. Okay.
When did it happen?
And
Stop interrupting.
well,
They're arguing today again.
yeah,
Even
it happened in like the 1800s.
Even so, less than a dozen locals were killed in the shelling as they waited for Grant to leave, but Grant refused to give up. The siege continued into July, quote, tightening the noose around Vicksburg. What did they?
Not all of us.
Not all of them, apparently.
Okay. The siege continued into July, quote, tightening the noose around Vicksburg, as he called it, with federal infantry forces moving closer to the city limits by the day.
Okay.
Finally, on July 4th, 1863, the Confederates surrendered. The Union forces did not cheer their victory, nor did they mistreat their captives. Quote, they knew that we had surrendered to famine, not to them, wrote one Confederate chaplain. In continued defiance, July 4th would not be celebrated as a holiday in Vicksburg for 81 years.
Wow.
Hotel.
Okay.
So now I'm talking about the house. Okay.
Close
So
enough.
in 1797, Andrew Glass built a small 2-room frontier structure. Glass wasn't exactly the kind of man you wanted for a neighbor. He was rumored to rob travelers along the Natchez Trace. His death remains a mystery, with some legends claiming his own wife turned on him.
Okay. They're like, you don't want this fucking guy as a neighbor.
Nope. Because he's also one of the ghosts that you get at the house.
Oh.
Years later, in 1836, Sheriff Stephen Howard expanded the house with a Greek Revival addition.
Okay.
His time was marked by sorrow when his young wife, Mary Elizabeth, died in childbirth.
Oh.
Her belongings remain in the house. And then the final addition came in 1849 when brick manufacturer John H. Bobb added the Grand Empire-style wing. And then during the siege of Vicksburg, Confederate soldiers converted McRaven into a field hospital, and the trauma of war left its own mark on the house.
Okay.
Guests today still speak
How
of...
did you get here?
I drove. Still speak of the heavy silence in certain rooms as if the echoes of that time have never quite faded. Each year of expansion brought not only new architecture, but also new stories and spirits that remain tied to the property.
Okay.
What makes the house so unique is that it is, in many ways, 3 houses in one.
Okay.
The frontier section takes you back to 1797. The Greek Revival rooms date back to 1836. And the Empire-style wing shows off the antebellum South at its height. Walking through is like stepping through a time machine, each doorway shifting you into a new century, and where every turn is both a history lesson and a ghost story.
Okay.
So now we talk about the ghosts.
Good.
The ghosts.
Come outside.
No, thank you.
Even though many of the homes in the city were in ruins after the siege, others survived, like McRaven House, the most haunted place in town.
Okay.
It survived. I was hurting. Okay. It survived not only the devastation of the war, but also the federal occupation that followed. Built over 3 time periods, this preserved example of Southern architecture is home to several resident spirits from the Civil War era and before.
Okay.
The most prominent ghost in the house is said to be Mary, who died in childbirth at the house during the antebellum era. Mary saw...
No, I don't think she was hanged. She died in childbirth. Thank you.
Mary's sorrow has kept her spirit alive at the house she once loved, and appears to witnesses in a holy. Okay, mine does said angel and holy. Appears to witnesses in a variety of different attires, from a morning dress to a formal ball gown, which she was wearing when she was encountered one day during a wedding that was being held at the house. Prayer. Why are you being... What? Okay. And Mary Howard does not haunt this house alone.
Okay.
Yes, certainly. Now, would you stop interrupting, please? During the Union siege of the city, a skirmish was found on the grounds of the mansion. Maybe. No, I need you to stop. No, just maybe me.
It's like, maybe. It's great because it told mine to stop interrupting, and then it's been talking the whole time.
Yeah. A skirmish was found on the grounds of the mansion, and the bodies of the dead were strewn across the yard.
Oh, wow.
The house itself still bears marks from the fighting. When it ended, the house was turned into a Confederate field hospital, and the wounded that died there were buried on the property.
Ew.
Over the years, the restless spirits have been encountered over on the grounds
I don't think it was
and
an
wandering through the house. They seem lost and alone, perhaps confused by their sudden tragic deaths.
accident. Sorry.
Another terrible death occurred in connection to McRaven House after the war ended. In 1864, more than 10 months after the surrender of Vicksburg to General Grant, the home's owner, John H. Bobb, who was the last owner, and his nephew, Austin Mattingly. Why are you asking? I'm not asking anything. Now shut up. And his nephew, Austin Mattingly, were walking toward the house and approached a group of occupying Union soldiers who were camped on the front lawn. Irritated, Bob told the men to leave his property. Tempers flared, and Bob got into an altercation with a Union sergeant. After it turned physical, Bob hit the other man with the brake and knocked him to the ground.
God. Fucking Bob.
The soldiers left but promised to return, and when they did, they swore to him they burned the house to the ground.
Jesus.
Bob didn't retaliate. Instead, he went to see General Henry W. Slocum, the Union commander in Vicksburg. He assured Bob that he personally make sure that no harm would come to him, his family, or his home. But Slocum was never able to make good on his promise.
Oh, no.
Because on his way home from talking to him, Bob was abducted by the group of soldiers, taken behind a railroad machine shop, and shot to death.
Oh, no.
But they made a mistake when they left a witness to the shooting alive, Bob's wife, Selena.
Oh, man.
She had followed her husband to Union headquarters, and when she heard gunshots behind the machine shop, she hurried in that direction and saw her husband crumpled on the ground. She was discovered a short time later by a Union officer named Gwinder, cradling her dead husband and covered in his blood.
Oh, God.
Gwinder had been dispatched to investigate the gunshots and order the arrest of the soldiers. The sergeant was the only man ever charged, and what became of the others is unknown. And perhaps that's why John Bob still haunts his beloved home to this day. He has been encountered on the lawn and walking the hallways of the mansion. Selena Bob sold the house and moved away.
I would too.
Here.
They're here.
They're here. Who's here? Okay.
Just we.
Okay. In 1882, it was purchased by a man named William Murray, whose family lived there for the next 80 years.
Oh, wow.
Why did you come?
Cool. They ask you every week.
They do. Murray had been a Union soldier during the war and had been part of the occupying army of Vicksburg. It was there that he met Ellen Flynn and married. They had 7 children together,
Oh, wow.
and William died at McRaven in 1911, and some say he has never left.
Okay.
In fact, former owner Leland French claimed that William was the first ghost he ever encountered in the house.
Why can't I come?
Because you're dead.
Yeah.
He was walking up the great flying wing staircase when he turned and noticed a man following behind him. He recognized the former owner from some old photographs that he had seen and admitted being frightened at first. He ran upstairs to the Bob bedroom, then slammed and locked the door. Yes, because that's going to help you with the ghost.
Yeah.
Since that initial experience, though, he claimed to believe the spirits at McRaven were harmless.
Oh, that's good at least.
William's wife, Ellen, died in the house in 1921, and 2 of their children also died at McRaven in the years that followed.
Oh.
Eventually, only 2 daughters, Annie and Ella, lived alone in the house. During those solitary years, the place earned a reputation as the local, quote, haunted house,
Mm-hmm.
not only for the ghost stories, but for the rundown appearance of the mansion.
You feel me?
Few visitors came to the door, and their only regular caller was their family physician, Dr. Walter Johnson. When Ella became ill in 1860, Dr. Johnson was called to McRaven to care for her. He later wrote that Ella's death was, quote, the eeriest thing that I have ever experienced in my life.
Oh, no.
He provided no details,
Of course he
and
didn't.
what occurred that night remains a mystery.
Why would he give us the satisfaction of knowing
Exactly.
what
Like
happened?
I want to know.
Why would he? Yeah.
Sad.
Like, yeah, I'm sad about
Yeah,
it.
because I want to know. Annie was moved to a nursing home after her sister's death, and she passed away in 1972. Goodbye. It should probably be no surprise in a house filled with
What year
spirits
is
like
it?
It's 2026.
spirits like this one. The 2 sisters are also said to have remained behind here in death. They are often seen in the house and the gardens, and sometimes the piano they love so much will plink out a few notes on its own.
Oh.
That's it on the McRaven house. Because, yeah, I was not doing that bridge because in Scotland, because there's a fucking bridge in Scotland.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. There's a bridge in Scotland that apparently dogs commit suicide.
Yeah.
I was not doing that one. No.
That's a no for me. But we can go visit this one. Vicksburg isn't too far from here.
None.
Mine keeps saying holy.
Maybe you need like some holy water. Maybe you have like a demon. Or well, actually, we're getting ready to talk about The Exorcist, so
Ah!
maybe that's why.
Probably.
It read my screen already, and it was like, holy water,
Holy water.
Jesus, rosary beads. In the winter and spring of 1949, a series of events unfolded between Maryland and Missouri that would become one of the most debated alleged demonic possession cases in American history. The subject was a 14-year-old boy, publicly known for decades by only pseudonyms as quote-unquote Roland Doe and quote-unquote Robbie Mannheim. More than 70 years later, the case remains suspended between faith and skepticism, between religious conviction and psychological interpretation. It inspired one of the most influential horror novels ever written, which is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, which in turn became the landmark 1973 film The Exorcist. In December 2021, the Skeptical Inquirer publicly identified the boy as Ronald Edwin Hunkler, born June 1st, 1935, passed away May 10th, 2020. A man who would go on to work for NASA and live what one of the priests described as a, quote, a rather ordinary life, considering what he'd been through. But in 1949, nothing about his life appeared ordinary. The first public whispers of the case appeared in mid-1949 when newspapers ran anonymous reports describing a harrowing exorcism performed by Catholic priests on a teenage boy. These reports were vague but dramatic, levitating objects, strange voices, violent outbursts, supernatural scratches appearing on the body. The likely source of these early leaks was the family's Lutheran pastor, Luther Miles Schools, who had taken an interest in parapsychology. According to one later account, as many as 48 individuals allegedly witnessed portions of the exorcism, 9 of them Jesuits. The most important primary source was a diary kept by the attending Catholic priest, Father Raymond J. Bishop, who documented the rituals in careful clinical detail. Decades later, author Thomas B. Allen would gain access to that diary and publish a detailed account in his 1993 book, Possessed, The True Story of an Exorcism. Allen was careful to note that definitive proof of demonic possession was unattainable. So, he took the documents and published them, but was like, this isn't proof.
Yeah.
We can't actually prove it, but this is what the priest said, that was happening. One of the last surviving eyewitnesses
That's mine.
No, it's not yours.
I like how yours is more interesting now and mine's quiet.
Jesuit priest Father Walter H. Halloran participated directly in the St. Louis exorcisms. Yet when asked late in life whether he could confirm that the boy was genuinely possessed, Halloran refused to make an absolute claim. He stated, quote, "No, I can't go on record." He reportedly said, quote, "I never made an absolute statement about the things because I didn't feel I was qualified." That hesitation would become one of the defining tensions of the case. Just hang out. I'm explaining it. Ronald Hunkler was born into a German Lutheran family in 1935. During the 1940s, the family lived in Cottage City, Maryland, not Mount Rainier, as later retellings often incorrectly stated. He was an only child. Accounts suggest he was somewhat isolated socially and relied heavily on adults for companionship. His closest relationship was with his Aunt Harriet, a spiritualist who reportedly introduced him to the Ouija board.
Let's get okay.
No wonder he was possessed. Not just kidding. I love the Ouija board. The Ouija board would later be framed as the gateway, like I said, the inciting object through which unseen forces allegedly entered the boy's life.
George really likes to say anti-clockwise.
Yeah, I don't know. After Harriet's death in 1949, disturbances reportedly began almost immediately.
Aunt Harriet said, "I'm not dead, bitches."
Yeah, she's like, peekaboo, I see
Peekaboo,
you.
I see you.
According to family accounts later recorded by Allen, the household was plagued by unexplained noises, scratching within the walls, footsteps where no one walked, furniture shifting on its own, so typical haunting shit. Objects allegedly flew across rooms when the boy was nearby. She is hiding because there's someone here and she's scared.
It's okay, me. Listen to me.
She's under here, under my desk. She's hiding. I'm listening. I know
Oh,
she's
it's not
hiding.
she's growling behind me.
No, she's under my desk hiding. Objects allegedly flew across rooms when the boy was nearby. A heavy armchair was said to slide across the floor without visible cause. The family sought help from their Lutheran pastor, Luther Schools. Intrigued and perhaps influenced by his own interest in parapsychology, Schools invited the boy to spend the night in his home for observation. He later claimed to have witnessed furniture moving without physical contact in his own home.
Jude.
So it wasn't just happening in the boy's home. So he brought
So
him
he
to
knows,
his home.
so that way he could be like,
It's
yeah,
attached
it's-
to the boy. It's
yeah.
not in the home.
yeah.
When renowned parapsychologist Joseph Banks Rhine learned of these claims, he reportedly wondered whether Schools had quote-unquote unconsciously exaggerated events A polite but pointed skepticism. Ultimately, schools advised the family to consult a Catholic priest. He's like, this is out of my realm. You probably need an exorcism. Talk to a priest.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole thing that has to be done in order to have an exorcism done. It's wild.
They have to do like research.
It's wild.
It takes like months,
and
years.
a lot of the time it's decline. Like it, you know, because the first step that they think is like, is it a mental problem?
Mm-hmm.
The first major Catholic intervention allegedly, and I am telling the truth.
It said, bitch, you lying.
The first major Catholic.
No account.
What did they?
On no account. I don't, whatever. The first major
Shut
Catholic.
up.
The first major Catholic intervention allegedly involved Father E. Albert Hughes.
What is
He said he'll shut up
Your
only
hair.
for you and your hair.
it? Okay.
He'll shut up for you and your hair.
Thank you.
Oh, God. Anyway, this is like the sentence I've had to start 4 times already. The first major Catholic intervention allegedly involved Father E. Albert Hughes at Georgetown University Hospital, a Jesuit
Are you recording?
institution. Yes, we're recording. According to the traditional narrative, the boy was restrained during the ritual. At some point, he slipped one hand free, broke a metal bed spring loose from the mattress frame, and slashed Hughes's arm, injuring him severely enough to halt the ritual. So the kid was like, nope, I'm going to kill you by cutting off your arm. This violent outburst became one of the most sensational elements of the story. However, later investigations, particularly by researcher Mark Opsisnik, found no hospital documentation confirming that such an event occurred. So, like, this guy was researching. He was like, I can't find any truthful information about this. Opsisnik also found no evidence that Hughes suffered an emotional breakdown or disappeared from the parish, as some retellings claimed. Already, the legend and the documentation were beginning to diverge. So, like, they were finding holes in the story almost immediately.
Yes, because let's let a little kid break a freaking metal bed
and try to kill an adult.
like because unless that bed was already breaking,
Right.
there's no way.
Well, it's a bed spring. So the bed springs, you just, like, unlatch out of that little hole. But they
No.
were saying he was, like, fully restrained. So how did he get his arm out to get that bed spring?
Exactly.
So, following the failed attempt in Maryland, the disturbances allegedly escalated. Scratches appeared on the boy's body, then red lines that seemed to form words hell, evil, Christ, and most dramatically, the word Lewis reportedly appeared across his torso. The boy's mother, originally from St. Louis, interpreted this as a sign. The family relocated temporarily to Belnor, Missouri, staying with relatives. Through family connections at St. Louis University, they were introduced to Father Raymond Bishop, who in turn contacted Father William S. Bowdern. Bowdern received permission from the Archbishop to conduct a formal exorcism. So they moved forward with this. The final and most prolonged exorcism took place at the Alexian Brothers Hospital in South St. Louis, a psychiatric wing within a Catholic hospital that would later be renamed South City Hospital before closing in 2023, just 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Father Bowdern led the ritual. Assisting him were Father Raymond Bishop and Father Walter Halloran from, we talked about him before.
She won't leave.
A third Jesuit, William Van Roo, was also present. According to diary accounts, the boy's mattress shook violently during the Litany of the Saints. Words allegedly appeared on his skin. He spoke in guttural tones, like demonic.
Yeah.
He demonstrated extreme strength, at one point breaking Halloran's nose.
Damn.
And he exhibited a violent aversion to sacred objects like you see in like all the movies. You pull out a cross and they're like, no.
Yes.
Yes. Sessions reportedly lasted weeks.
Examine.
I am examining. The priest alternated exhausted. The boy screamed obscenities. He thrashed against restraints. At times he appeared lucid and calm, only to relapse into rage when prayers resumed. So, like, when they were praying, like, the demons were pissed. But then, like, when they weren't, they were like, peace, I'm going to sleep. I need some food.
Yes.
On Easter Monday, April 18th, 1949, the ritual allegedly reached its climax. The boy reportedly cried out that, quote unquote, Satan had departed. Calm followed. So the exorcism was declared successful.
Was it though?
In the decades that followed, researchers began to dissect the case. Take note. Something important must be coming up.
Okay.
Mark Opsenick concluded that much of the commonly accepted narrative was based on hearsay. He discovered that the boy never lived in Mount Rainier. Key hospital claims lacked documentation, and there was no independent confirmation supported some of the more dramatic events. So, like, outside of just witness testimonies, there was no evidence. Opsesnick argued that the boy may have been a clever trickster, possibly using pranks to frighten his deeply religious mother.
Probably.
Skeptical investigator Joe Nickel wrote that nothing reliably reported exceeded the capabilities of an adolescent. He suggested that the scratches could have been self-inflicted, objects could have been moved manually, and Latin phrases could have been mimicked. It's all true.
Yeah.
Outside of, like, the furniture moving by itself. But again, like, there's no real documentation of that other than hearsay.
Because I doubt in 49 they had, like,
Stressed.
remote controls. Yeah, she is stressed. Like, remote controls and shit and the string.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, and it would have been, like, very obvious, I would think.
Anti-clockwise.
Nickel dismissed the portrayal of supernatural strength as consistent with what an agitated teenager might display. To skeptics, the case represented role-playing reinforced by adult belief. So a lot of these people are like, no, this was just a teenage boy being a jackass to his mom to scare her because she was overly religious.
Yeah.
So not all scholars agree with the skeptical consensus. Christian academics Terry D. Cooper and Cindy K. Epperson in Evil, Satan, Sin, and Psychology, which is a book, argued that, or maybe a report, well, they wrote something, argued that genuine cases of possession cannot always be reduced to psychiatric explanations. They maintain that exorcism...
Did I say weed?
Weak.
Oh.
They maintain that exorcism, while rare, remains necessary in certain spiritual contexts. Two clergy involved, the boy exhibited classic signs of possession, aversion to sacred objects, knowledge beyond education, and violent reaction to prayer. So basically, they're like, he knew things that he should not know.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he couldn't have studied something and gotten that information, but typically...
And his aunt had a freaking Ouija board. She could have, like...
Typically, at his age, like, this is not information that a normal 14, 15, however old he was, would know, right? So that was one of the reasons that they're like, nah, he was possessed. He knew stuff he shouldn't know. Interpretation depended heavily on worldview. So, like, if you believe in demons and possession, like, this would be a classic case of cut dry. He was possessed. If you're more skeptical and you're like, then you're going to think this evidence is not evidence. There are explanations to it. The case's cultural impact far exceeded its documented evidence. After reading a 1949 newspaper article about the exorcism, Will Peter Blatty became fascinated. He later transformed the boy into a 12-year-old girl named Reagan McNeil in The Exorcist. That was like one of the main things.
Yeah.
You know, the movie, it was a girl. It was a little girl. The novel's success was unprecedented in... Nope. Her name is not Teresa. Okay. The 1973 film adaptation became a cultural phenomenon, reshaping horror cinema. Other adaptations that followed was the 2000 film Possessed, the documentary called In the Grip of Evil, the 2010 documentary called The Haunted Boy, The Secret Diary of the Exorcist, an investigation by ghost adventurers.
Yes.
A reference in Criminal Minds Season 4, Episode 17 called Demonology.
Yep.
And the line between fact and fiction, like, pretty much blurred permanently because we don't know what's true or not. So the man behind the myth, quote unquote, in 2021, Ronald Edwin Hunkler was publicly identified. He had worked as an engineer, contributing to NASA projects during the space race, and raised a family. He never publicly capitalized on his notoriety.
He's
so,
like, yo.
This is one of the reasons that I feel like it's real. Like, it's true because he stayed hidden. He never was like, yeah, I'm that person.
Yeah, he's like...
It took, what, from 70 whatever to 21? Like, 40 fucking years for anybody to even identify him.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't he didn't
like,
capitalize
yeah,
on
'cause
this.
he was
He
like-
did not get any monetary gain from this because it was, if it happened, this man was traumatized and he did not want to relive it. And
Exactly.
that's one of the main reasons I believe that this is possibly real.
Because you don't want to live through that.
No, it's not like Ed and Lorraine Warren where they're capitalizing on everybody's fucking trauma and then making shit up. This man hid. He did not want anybody to know this was him.
Exactly.
Father Holleran once remarked after the ritual, the boy, quote unquote, lived a rather ordinary life, which we talked about earlier. So, which may be like the most unsettling detail of it all, like what happened to him, and he ended up being like normal. So if he was possessed, it ended. If he was disturbed mentally, he recovered. And if he was performing and this was a performative thing to scare his mom, it stopped after the exorcism. Either way, whatever was happening did end, and he grew up to become a productive citizen and never tried to bank on what happened, what happened to him at all. Because I feel like if it was performative, he would have been like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, like he would have wanted the notoriety. He would have wanted the attention. He would have wanted the money.
Yeah.
He didn't give a fuck. We only found out who he was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Point blank period. So the 1949 exorcism case endures because it sits at the crossroads of belief, psychology, media, and myth making. So it's like we're trying to figure it out. So it's so fascinating that it just we love this kind of shit as humans, not knowing what is and isn't out there, and having our own beliefs and, you know, cultures. Like, we want to know this stuff. So because there is no cut and dry, clear case of this, we're fascinated by it. It reveals how narratives form, how witnesses interpret through training and expectation, like with the people who were performing the exorcism. They were expecting the things that happened to happen because that was in their training. How books become films, how diaries become novels, how films become cultural memory. So was he actually possessed by a demon? There's no real proof. Was he a troubled adolescent caught in a web of religious fervor and suggestions? Maybe. A lot of people think so, but there's, again, no definitive proof. What remains undeniable is this. There was a frightened family, devoted priests, and a volatile teenager, which brought a story powerful enough to reshape horror for generations.
Yes. Generations.
Like, I think most people older, like 20 or older, has probably seen The Exorcist.
Yeah.
I would think. 'Cause it's a great fucking movie. It's old, but it's great. And again, the devil perhaps is not in the details, but in the interpretation, because it may not have been a demonic possession or whatever. But I'm leaning more towards it was.
Yeah.
This one's really short. This one's short, guys. Sorry. I'm so sorry. But subscribe and follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/hauntedandhomicidal. It will send you an email when our pod is out. We are kind of slacking on the dates, but there's just a lot going on, and editing it takes a long time. Like, you guys hear a 45-minute episode, but it's out of a 2-hour recording that takes me 7 hours to edit, so it's rough. Thank you. I plan on continuing. I appreciate it. Send us your suggestions or like real life experiences that you guys have had. We really want to put together a listener story, but we don't have anybody sending anything in anymore. We had one person, and that is hauntedandhomicidal@gmail.com. Also, you can do a sponsorship. We'll take those. Thank you. Okay, bye. And then Facebook, you can see all the pictures and stuff. I'll make sure we do like good pictures of The Exorcist on Facebook this time. And that is facebook.com/hauntedandhomicidal. Thank you guys for listening and continuing to support us.
And make sure you go to hauntedfest.net.
Yes, make sure you go to hauntfest.net and check out their events on Evently and their website themselves. Go to the events. Buy their merch. It sounds like a good time. I really want to go, but yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.